Let's do it. Let's do it.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, all of a sudden we just got caught. So take a chance. I don't know if we're going to be here or not. Oh, we're going to open up this thing here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to finish that, no, absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, the thing was, I never went to any classes, right? So I didn't think it was a big deal. It's nothing I hadn't seen. So, you know, when I'm seeing all this coming out, when my son was born, he had the lubricant all over him. I thought, what's wrong with him? How come he's got this thing on him? You know, and then I realized that's what's required to keep him from shriveling up. When my daughter was born, the doctor almost went out of an 8-story window because she got stuck. She was a little longer and a couple ounces heavier than my son. He was 8'1", I forget how long he was, and she was 8'6", and she was like an inch or two longer. So she came out, her shoulders got stuck. So the guy's tugging on her neck, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I looked at her. You break her neck, you're going out that window. That he was going to go flying. So anyway, we were talking about sex and why women can't have it. It's because not that they can't have it. The glyphosate is causing the vaginal area not to produce nitric oxide. It's the same thing that causes a guy to get erected for women's vaginal walls to expand. So it allows her to have the pliability to receive the girth of the guy. So if that doesn't expand, okay, this is a woman's vagina. If that doesn't expand or allow for any kind of padding here to take, when a guy enters inside, it's extremely painful because there's no give. So some guys are assuming is a response mechanism. It's a response mechanism, but not because she's enjoying it. It's because it's killing her. So when you're looking at, like I said, when you're looking at all of it and how they have been, okay, if a guy and a gal have a good relationship and they're having a lot of sex initially, that may slow down, but they still have sex, you know. But if it becomes a painful exercise for the woman, she's not going to be, I don't care what you do, whether you kiss it, stroke it, whatever you do, she's not going to respond because that's not responding correctly. Because the nitric oxide is not flowing the way it's supposed to flow. Even the clitoris will get erected because of the once she's stimulated because of the nitric oxide. That's just all biology. So if the guy doesn't get enough nitric oxide going to his penis, he can't maintain or sustain an erection either. And they have blocked that pathway too. But so the glyphosates are a big, big problem for women that when they eat it, it can eventually shut down her mojo, literally. So,
interesting.
Like I said, everything from your top of your head to your reproductive system is all connected. If I break that connection anywhere along the way, you're going to have problems. So when they brought in genetically engineering of the foods, their intent was to shut down the reproductive system. And the way they did it, well, that's one of the reasons why the women's liberation movement came along. It was to give her that sense that she's an entity all to herself. But then once she's separated from the man, then she became a target, a bigger one. So the targeting her by removing her uterus, targeting her by removing her breast, targeting her by removing her ovaries, because she had a quote unquote cancer. So now we're going to take away your capacity, or you have a hormonal imbalances going on, and we need to remove these organs. My thought has always been they were there in the first place. Why do you need to remove them now? So you have to look at what's causing wherever it is. That's what I say about epigenetics. Wherever you're being affected, you have to look at what is causing the meltdown or the shutdown. Okay. Once you start looking at that, then you can begin to resolve it.
So as far as foods and like GMOs, so recommendation is anything that's in a greenhouse, you wouldn't eat anything, because there's people now like are trying to go sovereign and buy their land and grow their own foods and be self-sufficient.
And
things
you
of
know
that
what?
nature.
All they're doing is trading the stuff at the grocery store, from them doing it that way to them doing it that way. There is no organic. It's impossible to grow organic. And the chemtrails alone neutralize any organics that you're doing. Now, if you have it in greenhouse, you got a chance. If you have it in a, if you have it in a, you have it in some kind of shelter, growing a vertical garden in your indoors. If you're growing a pot garden indoors, you know, like a where you got growing things in pots or boxes indoors. Yeah, then you could you maximize the minimization of exposure. Still going to get it. If you shut if you were in your house, wherever you are right now in your house, and you were to turn off the lights and had a green laser, and you fired that green laser, you would see dust particles in the laser beam. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
All right, I got a green laser here. That thing shoots up 10 miles. Now I'm going to see if I can do this from a distance. Can you guys see the beam at all? Can you see this beam here?
Yeah.
Now that you put your finger to it, yeah.
Yeah, we can see that.
Hold on.
I feel the Men in Black coming on.
Okay. I'll show you my laser. Okay. See this.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Beam.
Yes.
Hold on. See that line shooting up from my finger? Those are dust particles. That's nano dust inside the house.
Wow.
Let's see if I can do it this way, maybe better.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just all around us.
Oh, you're inundated. Okay, you ever notice you're going for a walk, and before you would walk, say 5 miles before you started feeling any exhaustion. Now you walk a mile. By the time you walk that mile, you got to sit down to catch your breath.
Man, I thought it was just me because I know I'm so out of shape.
Oh no, it's
I
not.
really thought because I don't get any like real physical activity for myself. It's just always running with the kids. But like every time I like do any kind of like walking or anything like that for a little bit, it's not as long as usual. I'm just like, is it me or is it just hot or am I just
Okay, now here's your body. You've got a square torso. Okay, now imagine you've got a dust vapor all around you, and you've got tons and tons of dust. Every time you walk, you're creating a wake going around you, between your legs, side of your hips, under your arms, around your shoulders, your head. You're moving volumes and volumes of nanodust all around you. Okay. So by the time you do any kind of major walking, you're huffing and you're puffing and you're thinking, what is wrong with me? I used to walk 5-8 miles before I'd even notice. Now I can't even walk a mile and I got to take a breath and catch my wind. Like, what happened here? I know I'm out of shape, but I'm not that out of shape. That's why. If I have a anchored weight on your arms and I tell you to go move some stuff, whatever it may be, that added weight on your arms makes everything heavier. Now, if you're gonna move all that volume, I'm walking and now the dust is going like this around me, over me, around me. That's what you're moving. So if you're going off grid and you're gonna plant whatever, you do a little, and you can do a little fundamental experiment just to show you what I'm talking about. Just go get yourself some clear plastic and leave it outside flat, anywhere. Check on it in a couple of days. Notice it'll be placated with this shit.
with a lot of dust. You know?
Well, I know that. I know. Yeah.
You ever notice the spider webs? They may not be spider webs. That may be nano construction. They're using carbon or silica, and it looks like a web or thin, flappy, whatever. That's from being collected from the air.
Hmm.
So next time you go out anywhere to a park, you see something on a tree that looks like coating. Don't touch it. Look at it, but don't touch it, because if you touch it, it may jump, it may penetrate, and then that could be a bitch to get out. Okay, but you will see on the trees, on the leaves, even on pine or anything flat, you'll see this coating of what looks like a metallic material. You have to ask yourself, is this organic? You know, the night I got popped, I walked out of my shop and decided to go down this block, take a shortcut. I'm walking, it's pitch black, the lights were off, we had a power hit or something. And I must have been directed to walk this way, because normally didn't normally walk that way. So I did. I got whacked with a webbing right across the head. I'm wiping this stuff, and I'm thinking, where the hell did this shit come from? So the next day I walked another block, same thing. I walked into another webbing. So after that, all of a sudden things started to happen. Then I got popped in my left leg. I looked at it that night, I got a mark. Next day I wake up on my right leg, I got a mark on the same exact spot, but on the right calf, because I never got hit there. So I knew something was up. So anyway, long story short, it began a whole new, different adventure in discovering how we're being violated, you know, and how we're being assaulted. So we're no longer, as I said at the very beginning when we started this, that we're no longer living back in the 50s and 60s. We are living today, now, with engineered pollution that can be programmed. When you guys get a chance, go look up Rice University, Tesla phoresis, and you will actually see them firing a frequency, and the nano just goes woof and expands everywhere. That's 10 years old. Well, I'm telling you to go watch. Okay, so you look up J-Tuck, AI is killing us. When you see that, you'll begin to realize, if you guys, did you guys see the latest Matrix?
I did.
I have.
You haven't? What's the matter with you? You're supposed to study.
I have.
All right. Remember,
I study books.
hey, study what?
I study books and studies. I don't watch movies.
What movies? Okay, but when you're watching a,
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, you need to take watching movies a little bit more seriously, and because they show you everything.
the
Literally.
sci-fi, sci-fantasy, and some of the drama. But if you're looking at the sci-fi for sure, look at them as a science documentary.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right.
Yeah.
These are the people that never watched Star Trek. And then when you tell them, I didn't tell you the story. I was in the story about a week ago. And this woman had me pull my cart through the line and put it up in the front. She's bending over. She's showing me her shirt, 2 meters, 2 meters. I looked at her. I said, lady, we're all going to die one day. She said, I don't want to die today. I said, don't you watch Star Trek? She's looking at me. She said, well, the Klingons are always saying today is a good day to die. What is a good day to die? What's wrong with today? You know, that meter thing ain't going to stop nothing. You're going to die one day anyway, so get over it, you know. So the lady in the next house, she's laughing her ass off, you know,
Right.
shaking his head. You know, so what, today's a good day to die, like in the other day. What's wrong with today? You know, anyhow. When you watch the sci-fi, it may take sometimes 3 viewings to get past the drama and the sensational shit, and then you start looking, but pay attention to the tech, because that's going to give you a ton of clues. When you watch The Matrix Reloaded, and it's not Reloaded, what's the last one with Neo?
It was I forgot what it was called.
Evolution, yeah.
Evolution.
they show you a scenario where he's seeing himself walking in a matrix, and everything around him is one big circuit. The buildings, the signs, everything's code. Everything's a code. Giving you the impression that's us today. So when you understand that, and then when you're actually looking at that, that's AI. That's artificial intelligence controlling and operating the planet. The whole matrix, the whole program, the whole dynamic is all AI. So when you watch that, okay, you ever watch Star Trek?
When I was younger, I did.
Okay, remember the theme? They were always worried about the ship.
Mhm.
Oh, it was always about the ship. Why?
Mhm.
Everyone's thinking that they're referring to the ship as the people on the ship. They weren't referring to the people. The ship was the AI they were all connected to. Now, look at the tech. Let's look at the tech. What was a transporter device? It was a 3D or 4D printer. They're taking a diagram, which is a person's DNA. They were transporting that DNA through a buffering unit and then relocating it elsewhere. You can do that with 3D printing. But in order for that to happen with a person, they would have already had to be integrated with some kind of genetic nano program. In other words, these people were not really alive like you and I are. They are transhuman. That's the only way that technology would work that way. Now, when you're looking at a replicator is taking photons and using certain DNA sequences or protein sequences, they're now creating what looks like food. Well, isn't that what they're talking about doing today? They're going to make meat and they're going to make this and they're make that. Well, that's what I mean. When you're looking at that, that was 20 years ago. Today they're doing it. Now they're going to do exactly that. The tricorder, a analytical device that analyzes things on a frequency level, on a light spectrum level, and then on an electromagnetic level. So we're using today. So when you see a lot of the things that they're showing you, the scenarios, that's what they got planned. That's what they're enacting or going to bring in. Before you guys came back, we were talking to Richie, in regarding to time. See, when you guys contact me, it's funny. It's ironic. This is how synchronicity works. Been talking about time and parallels and paradoxes, and then all of a sudden you guys popped up. So we were talking about time while you guys were coming on board. She was getting her alcohol, and you guys were doing whatever. So we were talking about time.
Yes.
You're not
That
thinking, big mug like that? No way you're drinking coffee. Not this time of the night. Anyway, so when we're looking at all these sci-fi that they're showing, I just saw something called Sisyphus. It was a Korean sci-fi about time. They mentioned a date at least 10 or 20 times in the first and second segment. October 31st, they're going to drop a nuke on Korea. I think it's going to be this year. And you guys may be able to figure it out through your algorithm. But look at
yeah.
North and South Korea. Okay, China's planning on moving an invasion on Taiwan. After the Russian thing blows. Well, in order to neutralize Korea and Japan, North Korea is going to fire a nuke at South Korea, take them out of the equation. Now, I saw this, I thought, holy shit, they're giving us the date, not the year, but the date. It may be this year.
The date, and they get, and where is it supposed to happen?
Korea, North and South. It literally devastates the whole island. There's nothing left. Throws them back to the Stone Age, literally.
October 31st.
But how do we know by watching, like if it is this AI type thing,
Hold on one second.
and
Keep
we have
going.
nanoparticles and all this kind of stuff, how do we know that by watching these movies, we aren't helping to create it to happen?
Do you want a nuclear bomb to go off?
What's that?
You want a nuclear bomb to go off?
No, like
That's what I mean. That's what I'm
what
getting.
if we're all connected?
Yeah,
Like if we're all connected,
if you're not wanting it, you're not going to be part of it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
By
Okay.
observing it, it's one thing. Now, if I'm saying, yeah, I want to build a nuclear bomb and take out Korea, that's a different ballgame. But
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because you're observing it doesn't, you're studying it, doesn't mean you
Mhm.
are going to fabricate it. Okay, there's no intent to do so. You're just, oh yeah, I'm looking at you.
Mhm.
I have no thoughts of any kind of anything to happen, but just because you're not having a discussion about a nuclear bomb doesn't mean you're going to get blown up either. You know, oh, North Korea just sent a nuclear bomb over to Utah. She's saying,
Mhm.
come on down. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so no,
Yeah.
by observe, just because you're observing something doesn't mean you are manifesting it.
Mm.
You're seeing something happening right in front of you. If a dog
Mhm.
crosses across the street, did you manifest
Right.
that, or did that just because you're just
Mhm.
watching
Or
it?
did that just happen and you're acknowledging what you
Yeah.
saw?
Mhm.
Exactly.
I'm just wondering what the acceptance though, because it sounds like you guys actually accept that like they're telling us this is what's going to happen. So is there power within that acceptance of it?
Not
Not in
necessarily.
agreement,
It's a
but
pattern. It's a pattern that they do. So when you see the pattern, you begin to recognize certain specific elements to the pattern. Like they're able to pinpoint through a 13-year algorithm that they discovered. Well, I've been observing a lot of things too, and because I do have history, I've seen the same things over and over being repeated. Now, when I was younger, I was not manifesting anything. You know, the only thing I was manifesting was baseball, basketball, football, hockey. That's the only thing I was manifesting. So when I saw all these things, I saw John F. Kennedy getting killed, Martin Luther King getting killed, and all these things that were happening that changed. That these were nexuses that changed us and redirected us to where we're at today. So when I'm saying October 31st, it's not that I'm accepting it, it's that's what they're telling me.
Right. And
And when they
let
do
me
it that
say,
many times, that consistency of it, that's something you got to pay attention to. Why are they referring to this specific time all 10, 20 times? You got to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
right. And the thing about it is within the pattern, the algorithm, part of it is watching. That's what's feeding whatever this is. Like we still don't even know whatever is feeding off of that, but we know that us watching things happen are a part of the execution of
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like no joke, the night we did a podcast one night literally talking about how with the algorithm we saw that an event similar to 9/11 was going to happen in 2029 to the Burj Khalifa building in Dubai. Literally 4 hours after that, the president who the building was named after died on Friday the 13th. Okay. So I'm saying that maybe because it was acknowledged, maybe things can be prevented. We may have way more power than you could imagine. And it only makes sense because it's a program. But God is real. You understand? So it's almost like getting our power back. And it's not anything that we're trying to weaponize or anything. We're actually encouraging other people to, just look at this and see if you know something, because things are regional too. And you don't even get things reported. We don't even get those regional things sent to us. So something could be going in Iowa, Utah, and we have no idea. Only you would know that. Only you would know that history. So I actually believe within this simulation, we have just as much leverage as long as we know the rules. And if you want to choose to, I don't want to say stay in the matrix, you can go along with, a routine. And listen, I'm gonna tell you, it's way easier that way. Way easier. You get way more sleep too. Way more sleep. You know, but when you look at it, and this is the reality that we live in, some things are just undeniable. You know, that really, really happened. And it wasn't anything that we were trying to manifest. We didn't even, we, like I said, we can only track where the numbers take us. Like, we had no idea that anything like that could possibly happen, like at all. We're just looking at dates. That is it. And it's crazy. And because Raphael found the actual name, which say it was a palindrome, like backwards and forwards.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, it's a palindrome isometric pattern. So basically, 9/11 was 2001. A lot of people don't know in history that in 1970, we'll make it 28, 1974, American Airline actually crashed into the World Trade Center, 73, into the World Trade Center. But they really don't talk about that. So here you have two exact events happening at the same building. So you got to find the correlation. They were both the tallest buildings at that time, and a plane hit them. So it was a difference of 28 years between.
Plane didn't hit them.
Well, yes, that's true.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Collapsed. They blew it up. They did blow it up. They caused it, what do you call that? Demolition. The demolition.
Yeah, we're on. Yeah, we're with you. But just to explain, just in context,
how he got to
In other
that
words,
part.
this event and this event are the same event in time. Two same events in time at the same time at two different parts of time.
Correct. And the correlation was that it was the tallest building. So it was 28 years in difference. So we took 28 years and we added it to 2001, and that will give you the future. So whatever the tallest building would be right now is the Burj Khalifa. And there's going to be a plane or a demolition that's going to. So that's the pattern. That's the.
Or maybe not. Maybe
there might be another taller building. Yeah.
No, I'm saying maybe something shifted because, you know, the building was literally named after him. Like, that building was built for him.
But you know what? Now that you're saying that, I'm thinking that it's probably still going to happen because they took him out. So in order to wipe out the memory of him, they'll take the building out too. Okay, that's usually the way it goes. If they're trying to eliminate or eradicate a leader of some kind, you hear anything about Gaddafi anymore? No.
You know I don't.
Yeah, did you hear anything about Saddam Hussein?
Saddam Hussein, nothing.
Bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden.
Castro.
Oh, I meant to tell you. So you know that the people who financed that building, the Burj Khalifa, you know Bin Laden was one of them.
Okay, there you go.
So it's still all connected. It's literally still all connected. I found that today.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. When they're trying to eradicate or erase somebody from sight, anything that's tied to them will also disappear. Now I just heard this last week, somebody that's running for office, senator or whatever, they want to destroy the Georgia Guidestones. They want to remove that now. They want to be able to take that out so people they'll forget it. So when they bring them down, that's 500 million. So Georgia Guidestone wants to bring them down to 500 million. The Protocols of Zion wants to bring you down to 600 million. And now they're talking with the Chinese and they're going to bring them down to 100 million. So this planet's going to be wide open again. And with the nanotechnology and the AI, it's not going to be hard to control. You know, there was a guy that actually did the breakdown of the film footage of the Twin Towers. There was no airplane that hit. That was all being done on through the media.
Yeah.
It was all holographic.
Yeah, it was all done through the engine was above the wings, he said, when he broke the frames down. So there was no hit. It was an explosive that went off. And the interesting thing, a lot of people forgot this, but they had arrested 4 or 6 janitors that said that they'd been there for years, but all of a sudden they couldn't identify them. And they put them in a truck and they took them away. Well, 5 or 6 years is more than enough time to drill holes into the building and put what's that shit? It's aluminum and iron.
Explosives.
It's not explosive. It's give me a second. So when you combine iron and aluminum, they produce an intense amount of heat exceeding 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Thermite.
Mhm.
So when they put the thermite inside certain specific areas, it melted the steel foundation that was holding the building up. It collapsed under its own weight. Now, what Jesse Ventura couldn't figure out was when it collapsed, should have been 40 foot of rock there, but instead it was only 12 foot. It was being vaporized as it was dropping. That's why the dust went right across Manhattan the way it did. And that was all nano dust. Wiped out a lot of people. So, yeah, so there's a lot. Like that's what I'm saying. When you're watching sci-fi,
Yeah.
anything to do with time, it's if you pay attention, X-Files. When you watch the X-Files, don't get caught up in the drama. Get caught up in what is really happening there.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to say, "Wait a minute here. This has really happened already." Or if you're watching, there's a sci-fi that was in Canada back in 1990s called First Wave. Okay, we have targeted individuals today. First Wave pretty much explains targeted individuals and why. The very first sequel there, very first epic. So episode. So when you watch that, you're like, whoa, that's what we're seeing now.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember, they had a show called V, which was about an alien race that came down and created peace with the humans, but they're reptilian.
Yes, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
Remember that? And
Yes.
nobody remember. You can't even find it now. It was like one season.
I don't know that one.
Well, there's a lot that have come and gone. And if you somehow go on the YouTube channel or go into the archive, there's an archive.org, and they got all these old movies. If you start digging back, even back in the 60s, some of the shit they were showing, I look at it today and I'm going, holy jumping. That was the game plan right there. Because we're seeing it now.
Right.
Back then, the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, Fringe. You watch any of those, start pay attention to not the horror, scary, there's one Outer Limits, but In God We Trust. And it was a story about a guy who created a robot after his own image and imparted his DNA into it. Now, that concept in 1963, 4, whatever, was unheard of. Today, we're talking iron and clay, the integration of biology with technology. That's a common theme today. It's all over the internet. So this is 1963.
Wow.
64. So that's what I'm saying. When you watch this stuff, you don't watch it for the entertainment value. Pay attention, like the tech.
Yeah, well, they purposely made all those things so cheesy on purpose. They did it for a reason, so they could always make you feel like it's not real, but they're telling you the truth at the same time.
Yeah.
So they made it hard for people to watch, because you understand that it's only like a certain breed of people that really, really like sci-fi stuff. Like, and they're hard about sci-fi. Everybody else pretty much is kind of like, oh, I don't care about it. And the other ones are just like, it's just too weird. But they're telling you everything is sci-fi. Everything.
Sci-fi, science, fantasy. When you look at Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, look, Game of Thrones.
That was an AI. The ring was a neural link. And once you board and you were in possession of that link, the frequencies would start to program you, take you over. That's what the cell phone does today.
Yeah.
Like I said, and when you're looking at it, it's a big tower with a big eye, an all-seeing eye. That's your artificial intelligence, but it's done in sci-fi. The wizards were creating life out of the earth. that's not necessarily alchemy. It could be considered alchemy, but we are talking again genetically manipulating protein in order to produce whatever you want it to produce.
Mhm.
Okay, and again, that's making reference that God created us from dust. Well, okay, we look at Adam, at the creation of Adam, again, going back to the book of genetics, he took dust from the sky, dust from the earth, and created Adam. That's bacteria. Bacteria in the air and bacteria off the ground. That's all protein. And then Eve came from Adam through his ribs. That's, again, genetics. Not only is that genetics, but that's super advanced genetics, because we're taking a genetic code that's pretty much male, predominantly male, and we're taking a rib out, and now we're altering that male gene into a female gene. We're talking extremely advanced shit here, you know. So ever since then, men have never rested. It's just the way it went.
We missing a rib. We trying to find a rib.
We want it back.
That's why McDonald's subliminally says, hey, everybody wants to make rib back.
Oh my gosh. You know what, I gotta tell you what's weird about the story is that, if they had to take the rib out to make Eve, then why is it that when the babies are after a baby is conceived, they're all female first?
They're not always all female. No,
chromosome.
that's decided at the last second, believe it or not. They have both genders. And at the last second,
Yeah.
there's a gene that decides.
Yeah, the thing breaks off and it makes the Y. Right.
Or the stem grows, one or the other.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I mean, because you got both at the same time now. You gotta remember, you got his and yours. So it's gotta decide at that point. It's coming out now.
I feel like we're right back at what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Well, there was no chicken or egg. It was what it was. You got it. It all stemmed from. If you really seriously think about it, every seed reproduces of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Every seed reproduces of itself. That's why I said we're of the species of mankind, because we're men and women created in the image of God. So when you're looking at chickens, well, the rooster, that's not who came first. If the seed is reproducing of itself, that means it would have had to have a foundation to come from to begin with. So, I mean, it's not like when you listen to that matrix crap, it's designed to confuse.
Yeah. Everything. It's all just a big.
It's all spin.
It's all confusion.
So, even the New Age stuff, all that New Age stuff came from MK Ultra, CIA. There's a book I got on it. And I couldn't believe it. They even admitted they created the whole New Age movement. They took some of the Eastern philosophies, mixed them with some of the Western theology, and that's how that came about. And then they started with the drugs for mind altering and mind control, and the media. You ever watch some of the early '60s rock and roll musicians and how they perform? They're always using strobe lights, spinning fractals, flashes. They were experimenting with the crowd to see if they could get them to respond to what they were throwing out there subliminally.
Well, you see what happened at that really big concert, the Astro World. You see what happened there.
What concert? I don't watch you.
It's a really popular rapper. He had a really big concert, and like, how many kids ended up getting killed at that thing?
There's a few.
It was like 10, I think. I think it was like 10 kids got killed, and some people were talking about they were getting injected with things, and some kids and they said that they were playing this crazy frequency, like in the beginning of the show, and nobody really knew what it was about, but they, the guy's into some strange stuff, but they were playing some crazy sound, and I think that they literally sent some kind of frequency, and